So I was looking for some games to play with my son last weekend, something that is good for kids. So I was browsing the family-friendly titles in the PlayStation store, and I found a few that looked pretty good, but I couldn't actually buy these titles. I found titles that I could only play if I had the PlayStation Now service. I've been looking at PlayStation Now for a few months now and thinking about trying it. So I started up a subscription and I dove in. PlayStation Now has actually been around for a few years and has evolved quite a bit over that time. It's really a different service in 2021 than it was a few years ago. Let's dive into PlayStation Now and decide if it's worth it. So let's start with this simple question. What is PlayStation Now? Well, it's essentially the Netflix of video games for PlayStation owners, or at least that's what it's trying to be. Instead of buying a game one by one, you get access to hundreds of titles, over 800 in fact. And just like Netflix, you can actually just stream the content. You can stream the game. You don't need to download it. You simply press play and the game loads up and begins. This is the promise of cloud gaming, the ability to just play a game that is actually being streamed to you from a faraway server. Now recently, Sony has added the ability to download some games just in case you want to keep it ready to go for offline play, or if you want to work your way through the game and you don't want to wait for the game to load every time, as streaming a title does take a little bit longer to load than an already downloaded title. So here's how it works. In a nutshell, you can play any game on the service on your PlayStation 4 or your PlayStation 5, or you can use a Windows PC using the PlayStation Now app. Obviously, opening things up to the PC is huge because there's just so many more places you can enjoy some of those PlayStation cloud gaming experiences. However, Microsoft has opened up their competing service, Xbox Game Pass, even wider and allows games to be played on the cloud to an Android smartphone and soon iOS devices. I imagine it's just a matter of time until Sony follows suit. As I mentioned previously, there's PS2, PS3, and PS4 games, and I imagine we'll see PS5 games soon as well. You can stream all the games from the catalog, but interestingly, you can only download PS2 and PS4 games. PS3 games must be streamed because that's the only option. Naturally, if you choose to download a game, you're going to get a bit of a different experience because it's actually installed on your system. It's going to load a little bit faster, and according to Sony, the resolution can be a bit better. So streaming a game though is pretty smooth overall. I find it takes a little bit longer to load the game up, but then the experience is close to the same for me. However, it's not without its glitches. As you can imagine, it's heavily reliant on your internet connection. I would say if you don't have at least 20 to 30 megabits per second down, it's not worth your time at all to have PlayStation Now. Even with my high-speed connection where I regularly test the connection and get 200 to 300 megabits per second down on the console itself, I found the loading time to be still a little bit long. And there were a couple of moments where I would be in the middle of a game and it would suddenly freeze. This could be due to just a slight error in the connection, and then boom, your game is over and you lose any unsaved data. This seems to be a fairly rare occurrence, but I did experience it a couple times over about a week period, and that's not great. So to me, that says the service, it just isn't ready for prime time yet. I know Sony is working hard on the servers and improving the overall experience, and so we'll just have to watch for that. Once you sign up for PlayStation Now, you'll get a little icon in your home screen along with all of your other games and apps. And it's just a little PlayStation logo in a blue play button icon. You click into that icon and there's 3 different pages. The first page is called Latest, and it's all about the latest additions or even just games that are popular or potentially leaving the service. It's kind of a mixed bag of anything Sony wants to draw your attention to. They have sections like Must See, Recently Added, Recently Played, and they also have a suggestions row based on your previous gameplay. Last Chance to Play is, I would guess, there to highlight a game that will be leaving the service shortly. And at the time of this video, they had Ace Combat 7 highlighted. You can also change your subscription at the bottom of the page. There are a few different options to choose from, but more on that in a minute. The next page is Collections, which is just curated content put there by Sony. It's almost like playlists on Spotify or something like that. At this point on the top row, they have PlayStation exclusives and then games curated from each of the past platforms, PS4, PS3, and PS2. You can also dive into a few different genres like family-friendly, role-playing, action-adventure, and more. And you can sort by game mechanics like co-op, competitive multiplayer, and others. Finally, there's a browse page, which just gives you all 800 games in a grid view. You have the ability to filter by genre, platform, age rating, and more. If you click into a game, you can see a preview with video clips and screenshots. Though not all of them have that, so sometimes you just have to click play and hope for the best. You can see two options here for download or stream. Again, the choice is yours. I'd say if you're going to be working your way through a game, it's definitely a good idea to download it for quicker access anytime you want to jump into it. You're not going to find the latest and greatest games on PlayStation Now. It's really, at least so far, been more of a back catalog of great games from previous years. There's quite a bit of good stuff on there though, including some gamer favorites like Uncharted 1 and 2, The Last of Us, Until Dawn, Fallout 4, Little Big Planet 3, Rainbow Six Siege, and others. You do get a few of the newer titles as well, such as Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3. We're still waiting to see if we're gonna get PS5 versions of games as well. Amongst some of the gold though, there are piles and piles of bargain bin games, which is totally fine, to be honest. There is something for everybody. My son and I certainly got a kick out of a few of the old games, even if only for an hour before we got bored. We tried out several Disney titles for PS3 like Disney Universe, Cars 2, Toy Story Mania. We also got a chance to try Need for Speed and Tetraminos. I played some titles on my own as well, like Detroit Become Human and BioShock. The beauty of the game selection is that you can jump from game to game and not feel bad about putting a game down after only 20 minutes if it's just not for you. It makes it a lot easier to do when you haven't forked over a big chunk of change for a game that you realize you don't really like. Okay, so is it worth it to get PlayStation Now? I'll keep this simple. The answer is both yes and no. Here's my suggestion. You should probably try it out for yourself and see if it's for you. I'm not sure if they still have a free trial. I didn't really see that option. So you might want to just try it for a month, which is $12.99. Try the games, try the experience of the streaming quality, and have some fun with it. There's so many games on the service, you really need to understand if there's enough interesting content there for you specifically. But here's the thing, I really don't think it's worth the $12.99 they're asking, but it is worth it for 1 month. And if after that you decide to stick with it, I recommend you switch to the annual plan, which is $79.99 a year, and that works out to just $6.67 a month, which is a much more digestible number in terms of value for money. If Sony wants to raise the price of the service at any point and get more people paying north of $10 a month, they will need to improve both the streaming quality, there's still some remaining issues there, but also put some of the newer games on the service. It seems like, maybe they're still testing the waters here a little bit, but they just need to go all in on PS Now. Just like everything nowadays, the future really is subscriptions and the cloud, and PS Now certainly meets both of those criteria. So although the service is still evolving, I think that they do have a winner here, at least in the long term. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please click that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for more Technology Paul. I post new videos every single Friday. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.